Jesus Christ. I can't even see in this thing. I was going to do a whole joke where I sung the Spider-Man song and talked about how I got scammed for this mask, but I can't even see in that thing. I can see a lot better in this one, but this one's better. Spider-Man, PS4. So it's interesting. It kind of sucks. It's really crazy. Marvel's Avengers is going to have Spider-Man exclusively on PS4, and people are mad. I totally get why. I mean, exclusives suck. Exclusives really do suck. It's always one of those things. It's like, console wars are a big deal, and it's, PlayStation, Xbox, or, PC gamer, the holy grail of gaming, PC, the master race and whatnot. But this guy right here, everybody likes Spider-Man. Spider-Man's sweet. He comes with reversible covers and stuff. 8 trillion freaking costumes in this. I don't know what they're going to do for the second game, because they use everything except for the symbiote costume. So I don't know what's going to be in that one. I guess all the costumes, and I'm still curious what they're going to do for Miles, because I'm like, he doesn't have that many either. So either way, million costumes. Everybody likes Spider-Man. Trillion movies. Starting over again. He's going into his second third movie, because Amazing Spider-Man 3 never happened. So people like Spider-Man. Spider-Man's fun. People like the Avengers. I don't know what this game's going to be like. I mean, the most recent thing, it seemed pretty cool. I'm super iffy. I'm going to check out the beta once it comes out, and we'll see what happens. But I don't know. I'm still just like, I'm mostly curious because the story seems really cool. I like the concept that, Captain America is seemingly dead. I don't think he's, we'll see what happens. But, Captain America's dead, and MODOK is the main villain. That's just interesting. So I'm like, I like the concept of this story. I like the idea. But we have to see how it plays, because it does seem like kind of generic. I love the customization ideas, different costumes and this and that. A lot of stuff seems cool. So everyone was kind of getting hyped up. They just had the new war table. I think it was last week. And so everybody was like, okay, game seems like it is picking up pace a little bit. It does definitely seem better. Even this second war table they had looked better than the first one, because I was still leaving after that first, and I was like, okay, that seems cool. But it was like, And the second one, I was like, okay, they added even more stuff. The beta's going to have a buttload of stuff in it for us to check out. So I was excited. I was like, okay, we're close. We're like a month away. Something crazy like that. And then recently, Spider-Man comes out. They come out with some Spider-Man news. Like, yeah, right now Spider-Man only on PS4 and possibly PS5 if they do an update. It's supposed to be not until 2021. So maybe for people that don't get the game on PS4 next month, if the game even lives long enough, they'll end up getting the updated version for PS5, and then, the PS5 version. So either way, console exclusive to Sony consoles. And that is really interesting. And I get why they did it, because it always makes sense to have console exclusives for the actual console, because it's like, oh, well, we'll get more of the money. You buy the 360 version, or 360, the Xbox version, period, whatever the X, S, 1, whatever the letter or word is after Xbox, you get that version. Microsoft gets it. You get the PS3, PS4, whatever. Sony gets it. So it makes sense. Everybody wants to have their exclusives. I mean, that's basically like half of Xbox's presentations is timed exclusives. World premiere, timed exclusive though. They're like, that's their big thing, is that half their stuff is either a timed exclusive or it's recently their big thing was the fact that anything you saw was on Xbox Game Pass. So that was like the major news. But with this being such a big character, I'm curious how that's going to play out. I mean, people are just going to have to deal with it, admittedly. I don't think they're going to change it, especially now, especially considering it's not just like, oh, well, we thought about it and we chose to do this. It was like, no, Sony definitely put the money in. And I heard that apparently the rights do not apply to video games like they do with the movies. They just want to keep it that way because, we, of course, had, PlayStation, Spider-Man, Marvel Spider-Man or Spider-Man PS4, as people called it, and it was only on PlayStation. And they're kind of just trying to keep it that way. But obviously, Spider-Man came out, he was in Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, and, that, of course, that was on the Switch. So it's not like he's locked to Sony consoles. He can be in other games on other consoles. But Sony was like, but we can have more money if we, keep him at home here. Smart decision, obviously. It's always a smart decision. If you can get the exclusive, go for it, business-wise. Gamer-wise, that sucks. I'm not going to miss out if I even get the game anyway, honestly, because I have a PS4. But it does suck. It always sucks. When they have this and it comes out that it's not just like, everybody has that. It's typically the timed exclusive. Call of Duty is like the big one. It's like, oh, you get Whatever I don't know if it was Warzone or something. Whatever thing they had, I think it was the most recent Call of Duty. I haven't played in a million years, but it was like the whole mode was locked off for an entire year, and it was like only on PS4 if I remember right. And people were pissed, and it was like, well, that makes sense. And then you go into the game a year later, and it's like, well, we'll see. Like it just depends on if the game is popular enough, which Call of Duty typically is. But they've been real back and forth online wise. I know at least that much. So with this, it's just like, man, it sucks for the gamers who are Xbox only, which you shouldn't be. I personally think everybody should get everything if you can afford it. I wish I had enough money to get an Xbox. I'd like to play. I still haven't played all the Gears games, but I just wait now because everything, there's almost no point in getting an Xbox because you can just go to PC. But in this very specific case, PlayStation only, no PC, no Xbox, only Sony. You get Spider-Man, and it's really interesting. I don't. It sucks, for everyone else because, like I said, if I get the game, I'm fine because I have a PS4. But as a whole, it's just like that really sucks. And something that I read that I thought was interesting was with this being the case, if it's exclusive to one console, odds are that means this game will not in any way, shape, or form possibly be crossplay because you have one particular character that no one else can have. It's only people on PlayStation that could possibly have Spider-Man. So odds are there's no crossplay. And I was like, oh well, that's a good point, and that sucks for people. So interesting little bit of news that came out. I know people are flipping out about this. People are mad about the PS4 controller thing. This makes way more sense. Like, being mad about this makes way more sense than the PS4 controller stuff. I was like, I don't even understand that. If anything, that's good news. The fact that they said PS4 works on PS5, I was like, that sounds like backwards compatibility to me personally. I didn't look into it, but I was like, that's the first thing that comes to my mind. I was like, why would they make it work at all if you couldn't play PS4 games on the PS5? Like, they might do it where it's strictly download, and that's totally possible, but that sounds like backwards compatibility. Even if it's kind of how the Xbox One did it with the 360, where it was like, okay, we have backwards compatibility, but they had to pretty much like do it over time. They were kind of rolling out very specific games. Like, okay, now you can do this. We've kind of made it where the console can now, figure this out and figure that out. So I like the idea. Like, just hearing that in general, I thought, well, that's pretty cool. This just kind of sucks for people because they're missing out. But it works for Sony, and I wanted to show off Dead Space 2 because this is the first thing I thought of when I was like, Dead Space 2, I specifically bought for PS3 because right at this little gray piece here, exclusive content, only on PlayStation, which I think was just this. I think it was just the Dead Space Extraction game, which I personally just wanted again because I actually have it on the Wii. But I think I wanted it because it was like, oh, it's going to be an updated version of it. And I feel like there was something else. I could be wrong, but maybe... No, I think multiplayer had to be on everything, right? I don't know. I'd have to look it up, but maybe it was just the Dead Space Extraction thing. But for whatever reason, I was like, if it's more content, I'm going to go with this. At the time, I did have a 360, which is always one of those weird things. Like, my Dead Space 1 is, like, over with my 360 games, but then Dead Space 2 and 3 are with my PS3 games, because I was like, well, that's just how it is. So, that was always, like, my weird OCD thing. But I was like, I would, of course, go to PlayStation. So, it's a smart move by Sony. But it does suck. Like, it's always one thing when it's a timed exclusive, and it's like, oh man, we have to wait. I think that year thing with Call of Duty, or whatever game that was, I think that was the longest we've ever had. Typically, it's like, 2 months or 3 months. I think 3 months is the normal thing. It's like, oh, like, it's a 90-day timed exclusive. It's never been, like, 12 freaking months. Like, the whole year, you just don't have access to an entire mode of a game. It's normally just, like, a couple months you'll have earlier access to that, or maybe maps or something like that. And then, of course... you go back to like the early days of pre-orders when I wish I could remember which game it was. But I specifically remember one game in particular literally had pre-order exclusives that were different at every single store. Best Buy had different stuff. GameStop, Target, Walmart, and Amazon, all 5 had different pre-order bonuses that you could get. So it was literally like, what would you like to pre-order? But all those other things, you'll still have to pay for. I don't remember what game that is, so if you happen to remember, or you can look it up, I'll probably look it up after this. But I remember that being a thing, and I was like, I really hope that doesn't happen for every game that's ever made, where every single place gets a pre-order exclusive. And fortunately, that's not the case. It's typically only one place gets a pre-order bonus. Some places will just do certain things. Like, I think Best Buy is actually pretty good, just to randomly throw that out there. They tend to do some pretty good stuff, because I was able to get the Ghost of Tsushima Special Edition, and they included some stuff that you technically don't get with the special edition, just as like their pre-order bonus. So when I got Resident Evil 3, they were giving out it's not even a collector's edition thing, because even in the collector's edition of RE3, you get the normal the case. But from Best Buy, like you can just buy the game normal, and they just threw in like a free steelbook edition, just because like you got the regular version, and it was just like, here's a free gift, and it was just a steelbook, and I was like, well, that's pretty sweet, because no one else was doing that. So random little thing. Best Buy, as crazy as they are for all their other stuff, game wise is pretty good pre-order, for their pre-order stuff. But there's some crazy news. I like Spider-Man. I don't think it matters, especially considering 2021. I don't think I'm going to give a crap about this game. I highly doubt I'm going to buy this game unless I see some stuff and it just completely changes my mind. Like, I just don't. Like, I'm definitely going to check out the beta and kind of see. But as of now, I'm like, this is probably more of a Let's Play type of thing. I'll just watch somebody else do it because I really want the story. I want to know what happens in this game, but I don't know if I want to play through it. And that's my main thing. But I'm excited to see what they do with this game. It's an interesting move to make. I'm not 100% surprised, but it seems weird that this would happen so late in the game. Like, I know that the whole big deal about this, well, not this game, but the whole big thing with the Avengers game is like, hey, we're going to be putting out free content for, a super long time. I mean, even Spider-Man is already stated to be 2021. So it's like, okay, I know that the point of this game is that there's going to be content after content after content, post-launch, and that seems really cool, but it's just an interesting idea that this came out as news a month before the game is coming out. Like, even if they've been working on it, it's just like, that's a weird little bit of news to just hit you like right before the game comes out. And I feel like that's kind of what makes it a little bit harder for people. Like, it would suck anyway, because of course it's Spider-Man. If it was like Hawkeye's only on PlayStation, people would be like, okay, Hawkeye, like who gives an F? But it's Spider-Man, so that's very different. They knew what they were doing. Obviously, I mean, it's Spider-Man. You want them. You get a character like that. It's like having Batman only, I guess it doesn't really count for Injustice because he's one of the main characters, but, something like that. Like, if he was in Injustice 2, but only on, like, Xbox, like it's Batman. Like, you're going to want Batman in the Injustice games. He's, like, he's one of the big three for the DC Universe. So, it's in that same sort of realm where it's like you picked one of the most high-profile characters you knew you could get. And especially considering he's not out yet, and we'll see what happens as far as who they end up putting out. Considering, ye old virus, I guess it doesn't really matter what characters become famous because none of the movies are going to come out. Because I was going to say, like, maybe they can do stuff with Black Widow and the characters that are going to be introduced there. But I guess that doesn't matter because none of those movies are going to be seen until, like, next year. So I don't think any new characters are really going to get very popular for some new deals to pop up. So it'll be interesting. They started off with Spider-Man, but they could do more if they decide, hey, we have a lot of faith that this could happen. I highly doubt it because, like I said, that would just be assuming someone else is going to become popular. So I don't think we'll see that. But Spider-Man himself, that's a big deal. That's a big draw. Good on them, I guess. It sucks for gamers, but exclusives always suck. Whether timed or not, I always kind of hated the idea of exclusives. I mean, I get why they have them because that's just good business. I mean, that's why I have a PlayStation, because I prefer to have like Uncharted and Last of Us, definitely Ghost of Tsushima, over Gears of War and Halo. That's really it. Like, for me, the whole console war thing is just like, I don't really care about the consoles or the company. It's just what games are gonna be where. And same thing with Spider-Man. I mean, heck, this game itself, if I didn't already have a PS4, I'd be like, I kind of think I need one for this. Although I probably would have picked up one anyway, because when God of War was announced, I pre-ordered that like as soon as they announced it. So it's interesting. It's a good idea, but it just sucks for the gamers. So it's just one of those crappy business practices. It's been worse. We've had far worse. I mean, we have EA in general. So, I mean, EA. I miss Dead Space. Why'd they do that? Why'd they do that to me? But Spider-Man's going to be only on PS4's Marvel Avengers. Is that the whole title? Is it just Marvel's Avengers? I don't even know. That's how little I care about this game, honestly. I'm gonna play the beta, but I will have to know your thoughts on this. The exclusivity. Do you care? Do you not care? Honestly, with the weird position this game is in, I wonder how much it's gonna really impact them, because I feel like people are still just kind of like, it looks cool. But it's a month away for a game that's supposed to be like, yeah, we're doing post-launch for over a year, and they just, announced Spider-Man. This game cannot be like, it's pretty cool. Like, this game better be like top tier, because I mean, at this point, I mean, we went out on, I mean, well, Last of Us, I personally loved it. I know people hate it. But we went out on The Last of Us, and now we're at Ghost of Tsushima. And then it's like, okay, everybody's waiting for Cyberpunk at the end. But as far as, big games, this was kind of just like the one that was interesting. And even now, it's like, it's still just interesting. But nobody seems to be like, holy crap, let's do this. I don't really watch that many videos about it because that's how little I care. But we'd love to know your thoughts on this exclusivity. What's like the craziest exclusive that you can remember like having to deal with as far as like picking a game or having to pick which console it's on and stuff like that? Because we've had so many. I think it's gotten a lot better now. Like I said, I feel like Call of Duty is the main one. It's always like, their big thing is typically 360, but I think most recently was that PS4 year-long thing. But it's always like, oh, these maps or, this mode or whatever for 90 days. And it's like, oh, it's a timed exclusive. So that's kind of normal. That's typically what it's at. It's timed exclusives here and there. But this is like a huge deal, especially for something where it's just like, it's not even happening soon. So we'll see what happens. I doubt this will fall through because that would be really weird if it does. But like I said, we'd love to know your thoughts on that. We'd love to know, pre-orders and all that stuff, exclusives, like, I would love to know your thoughts on that, whether it's exclusives or pre-order stuff. What are your thoughts on it? I don't mind pre-order bonuses. I do pre-order games. I know there's some people that say, like, don't pre-order, never pre-order games. But I'm like, I know what I like. Like, for me personally, just like with this game, especially in the world we live in now with YouTube, a Let's Play. If I know I'm not going to buy that game, if I'm at least interested, I'll watch a Let's Play on it. Death Stranding, I was going to do it. I eventually ended up getting it because I was able to get the collector's edition, like, super, super cheap, which you might still be able to do. If you happen to not have it, I think you could probably get it for, like, $40 or something. You can find the collector's edition super, super cheap right now. But stuff like that, it was like, I'm interested, and it was always this iffy thing, like, I might get it, I might not. So, we can always choose now. And plus, heck, you can watch a review a week before the game comes out now. So it's way easier these days. But I would love to know your thoughts on all of this in general. So please put your comments down in the comment section below. And, of course, thanks for watching.